Good evening, fuckers, and welcome to the next Train Simulator Classic request video. And this request is one that came from JimJimPlays, and it really is your archetypal JimJimPlays request, this one. Whether he's playing the game or watching videos on it, he does really like the routes that he is familiar with, and he's certainly no more familiar than the one he's chosen, and locos that he's familiar with, and I get the very distinct impression that he is familiar with this loco as well. So the route is the Portsmouth direct line, and we're going to be doing the entire length of it. So we are starting at Portsmouth Harbour, and we will finish at London Waterloo. And I've got a list here of a few stations on the way that he wants us to stop at. What we are basically doing is the express service run, so there's no shortage of stations along this route, but we are only going to be stopping at Portsmouth and Southsea, Fratton, Havant, Petersfield, Haslemere, Guildford, Woking and Waterloo itself. And for the loco, it is the Network Southeast Class 442, which did actually start running on this line in 1990. Hence why he chose it. So as far as the specifics, it's summer, it's cloudy, and it's 11 AM, yeah. Right, let's get this one up and running. And here we are. So, yep, here is our train at Portsmouth Harbour Station. There is HMS Victory in the background. I think that's the Victory anyway. Actually, no, I'm not sure it is. It's the other one. The Victory would be, yeah, over this way a bit more. I can never remember the name of the other ship that's there, but yeah, bloody hell, I've been on it. And I can't remember, yeah, what it's called. Anyway, we're not doing 19th century warships. We are, yes, doing the Class 442 Emu. And here she is, in original Network Southeast livery. So let's get the lights sorted out first. We want daylight running. I'm pretty sure that is daylight running. And I think as far as the lighting goes, that's it. We don't have a great deal to sort out here. We will put the instrument lights on. Cab lights will go on. DRA, we don't need to be messing about with that. Right. Lighting is done, but one thing we will do before we leave is, yeah, get the doors so that any remaining passengers, yeah, there was one anyway who got on. Now I did clear my game cache a couple of days ago, and since then I've not had as many AI trains appear. Now I think it's because the cache has to be rebuilt again, so for a bit anyway we're not going to see as many AI trains along the route, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah, unfortunately it can't be helped. Now something else that can't be helped is this annoying noise that's about to make an unwelcome appearance. Now thankfully, as far as I'm aware, it only does it that one time, but right, now we're about to depart. Now I've got to be a bit careful around here. The track around here, and in fact it carries on until we reach sort of Fratton station, is pretty bloody awkward. There's a lot of slow sections, and there's also a lot of very tight sort of and sudden gradients that result in you going an awful lot faster than you thought, or that you certainly intend to go. So I am taking it rather easy as we come out of here. We don't really have the chance to pick up any sort of decent speed until we leave Fratton station. Now thankfully, having left Portsmouth Harbour, so the next station is Portsmouth and Southsea, which we are going to be stopping at. And then it's Fratton station, and then they all come along in pretty quick succession. So once that has happened, we'll there is an AI train right there, so yeah, they may not be as frequent as but they are certainly still there. So that was a 444, significantly more recent loco than this one, although it's not like the 442 is some prehistoric thing. It's so it came into service in late 87, very late 87, December 87 they first entered service. They didn't actually start running on this line, the Portsmouth direct line, until 1990. But as I said in the intro, they did actually run on this line. And they were actually made to fill a role that you wouldn't have thought would have been that important for the region that they're operating in, but it was a return of intercity express services for the south and the southwest. As they were running express services, say initially down to Bournemouth, Poole and Weymouth. But their success on those lines, or that particular sort of route, meant that they were then chosen to begin runs on the Waterloo to Portsmouth direct line. So pulling into Portsmouth station now, you perhaps already see one of the slight design issues with the 442, in fact it's not just limited to this particular EMU, a lot of the electric, well in fact a lot of the multiple units in general had this. Anything that's to our right, you know, to the right of this area here, we can't see it. Anyway, here we are at Portsmouth and Southsea. I'm already doing significantly better than I did at my first attempt at this route. When I first tried this, I gave up once I pulled in at Fratton station because I'd already racked up 4 speeding errors, and by the time I reached Portsmouth and Southsea I'd racked up 2 of them. So, right, let's get back underway. So it is still quite slow around here. You may have noticed on the throttle, instead of the usual notch 1, 2, 3, 4, this actually has notch settings that would look, you know, not out of place on an electric train from the 1930s. And the reason for that is that well, in fact there's 2. Firstly, yes, this train does actually use a sort of hybrid of modern for its time technology and technology that yeah, first appeared in train and locomotive building in the 1960s. As it is, on the modern, certainly modern EMUs, we have, you know, notch 1, and here it's shunt, series is notch 2, parallel is notch 3, and weak field is notch 4. That is in fact what the notches 1, 2, 3 and 4 are doing on the modern EMUs. It's just that yeah, they're coming up, they've just been given a number instead of an actual, you know, actually showing what it is that they're doing. You know, what mode they're actually going into. So we are approaching Fratton platform, and once we are out of here and able to get up some speed, I can then start with what little I know about the 442. It is a loco that I am a bit of a fan of, but I can't say I know a huge amount about it. Okay, so here we are at Fratton station. Fratton Park being the home of Portsmouth FC. Right. Brakes are off. Off we go. I think we can even put it in a weak field now. One thing I can tell you about the 442 is that it does hold a performance record. It holds the record for the fastest train that uses third rail. Having reached a speed of 109 mph. Now obviously, you know, we've had diesels go a lot faster than that. We've had electric electric trains that are using the overhead AC 25 kilovolt power go a lot faster than that. But yes, Southern Rail and their extremely stubborn bloody mindedness, insisting on continuing to use the third rail, means that yeah, trains running on this region don't have anything like the power available to them, and so yeah, getting up to, you know, the higher speed train sort of speeds, you know, getting up to 125 is way beyond the capabilities of any of the trains running on third rail lines. So Hilsey is not one of our stops. Our next stop is Havant. We got yeah, this stop coming up. We've got to get down to 50 mph. Now the fact that this train does hold that record of, yeah, fastest train with, yeah, that's using the third rail power is actually something they sort of use in one of the scenarios. If you get the class 442 loco DLC for this game, you get the Gatwick Express 442. So it's using the London to Brighton line, and yeah, on that particular scenario there is a stretch of the route where it says you can ignore all of the speed limits, go as fast as you like, try and take the record. Oh, we're back into the 85 zone. But one of the things that help, I think anyway, helps this train reach its decent top speeds, and also helps with its great acceleration rate, is the fact that by train standards this thing is quite light. The powered cars are 51 tonnes, it might be 52, but it's certainly around there. and the trailer cars are only somewhere in the region of 36 tons. So we're approaching Bedhampton, but yeah, again we've got 60 MPH sections, so we're going to need to slow for there. So yes, they are quite light. Yeah, they are quite light trains. The powered cars, each of the powered units have 300 horsepower, which for an Emu is fucking good because that is per unit. So Bedhampton we are just going to go straight through, but then we need to start slowing again for Havant station, and we are stopping there. That was Bedhampton. Havant is barely half a mile from that station, so we are going slow enough for the approach here. We certainly are now. Hear the compressors going where I've been using the brakes, which is fine. Do with yeah, shaving off a bit of that speed as we make the final approach to Havant. Brakes on this thing are not too shabby at all. So, like all Class 442s, I'm in a 5-car train. Here we are at Havant station. You did also get in peak hours, and certainly when this thing was doing the Gatwick Express runs, have two of them together for a 10-car train. So, right, let's make our way out of here. So our next stop is Petersfield. But yeah, we do need to address the major fault with this loco where I'm concerned, and that is the view from the cab. As is so often the case with emus from around this sort of era, the view is very limited. And that limitation comes about from the insistence, once again, of putting a fucking great door in the front of it. I mean, I know why it's there, so, you know, passengers, the guard, the ticket inspectors, because this was built at a time when they still existed, could, you know, if they were on a 10-car train, they could make it so that, you know, get their way through the whole train without any sort of hindrance or anything. But it means that the driver, who, let's face it, he's a bit important, is in this tiny cramped section here, and the view is terrible. So I will go beyond 70, even though we have this 70 mph restriction coming up. Yeah, now we're at 75. Just drop the speed a tad. There we go. It's warning us about that speed restriction. We're now well inside that. But then we have another speed restriction taking us down further to 65 as we approach Rowlands Castle station, where we will not be stopping. We're already below this speed limit, so we're fine. And pretty much the moment we leave Rowlands Castle, we can start getting some speed up again. I'm not sure if we can actually see Rowlands Castle itself from around here. No, is the answer to that. Right, we are losing quite a lot of speed here because we're on a 1 in 120 uphill section. So here we are, that's Rowlands Castle station. We're now in an 85 mph section, but we're not in it for very long before it goes back down to 75. So yeah, we'll just treat this as a 75 mph section here. And this section isn't particularly long either, the 75 once we're in it, because then we have here another drop to 60. So we're in the 75 zone. In fact, we'll let the speed continue to drop down because, yeah, there's the warning, the Morpeth board. 460 mph, we may even have to brake slightly to get us down to the 60 mph that we need. Nope, we don't need to, so quite handy. I dare say, yeah, we are going to be crossing the South Downs here. and I am pretty sure we are off Portsea Island now. So, in fact, yeah, I think we left Portsea Island behind us a while ago, but yeah, we are approaching the South Downs and that, so yeah, we're going to have quite a few gradients, and probably the occasional tunnel on that. So we're now on a 1 in 110 uphill climb. And in fact it was all of these sort of uphill climbs and that, and all of these gradients that were the reason why the 442 did not last particularly long on this route. It did have wheel slip issues, although they don't seem to be in the game. The 442 in the game here is able to handle the gradients quite well without any wheel slip. It's now 1 in 110. We're still accelerating even though we're only in series. But there was only something like 24, maybe 25 442s ever built, and to say they had a bit of a patchy career is a masterpiece of understatement. They were retired something like 3 times and then brought back out and into service. So after they were finished with the run from Waterloo to Southampton to Bournemouth, Poole and Weymouth, they were basically retired. They were all just sitting around in sheds doing nothing. And then we're now in a 1 in 80 uphill section. You know, this is but they then got a reprieve that no one was really expecting, in the form of the Gatwick Express, because the trains that had been brought in to do the Gatwick Express, which were the 460s, were so utterly useless, and basically they were absolute shite, that the decision was taken to get shot of them. They needed something to take their place. And bearing in mind the 460s had only been doing the Gatwick Express run for about 6 or 7 years, but they were that bad and that unreliable that yeah, they were given the chop, and the 442s were brought in to replace them. So a train that was quite a bit older was brought in as the replacement for the new, supposedly improved, supposedly bang up to date loco that was the 460. Okay, we are pretty much able to yeah, we can now go into 70 mph, and then we have an 85 mph zone coming up pretty soon after this. We are also on a downhill section, so our speed could be going up at quite a rate. So we're in the 85 section, but again it's quite short before it then goes down to 80, so we'll just treat this as an 80 mph zone. Petersfield is the next station and we are going to be stopping there. So we're in the 80 zone. Petersfield is still quite a way away, and even though I say that I do like the brakes on this thing, there are better out there. Brakes on this are certainly not bad, but yeah, I am having to brake quite a bit earlier than I would have liked. But then, I mean, so this is a train that came out in 1987, so you can't expect it to have, you know, sort of like brake performance of 21st century locos. As much as I hate to say, because to me, 1987, when these things came out, it only feels like a few months ago. I mean, I genuinely still have days today where I get up out of bed and it's like, oh yeah, I don't have to go to school. Yeah. I'm fucking 53 in a month's time. Okay, we're good here. Will bring us down to a stop. So here we are at Petersfield. Quite a short stop, that one. But that suits me. Right, off we go. So our next stop is Haslemere, and although I don't know this anywhere near, you know, this area, I don't know it anywhere near as well as certain other YouTubers. I think there is a fair old gap between Petersfield and Haslemere. Haslemere, I'm sure, is Surrey. So I can't help wondering actually if it does seem awfully coincidental that the 442 started doing this run on Portsmouth in 1990, which is because that's around the time that the whole sectorisation of British Rail started. You know, your Network South East and all that. I don't really know how or why it turned out to be the case, but sectorisation proved to be a seriously good move for British Rail, and their fortunes turned round significantly having brought it in. So we have 80 mph max speed reduction coming up. I think we can coast, yeah, we can coast this easy. This is the next station, which we are going to be going straight through. And this 80 mph section is relatively short, less than a mile and a half, and then we're back to 85 again. Here we are at Liss station. No denying it, it really was nothing special. And we're fast approaching the 85 mph zone, and we're some 10 mph below that, so we'll definitely do something about that. So this train coming up here looks like another 444. Glad to see the cash being built up again. I do think actually the way they went about building the 442s was, I think, a great move. Everything about it suggests that this train, or everything about the train actually, was going to be pretty heavy, because it was all made out of steel. You never mind all of these, you know, like exotic sort of like metals and that modern trains are used from. No, this one, no, we use steel. So yeah, obviously it was strong, but you'd have thought it was also going to make it properly fucking heavy. But no, as I say, the trailer cars 36 tons, and the powered cars 51 to 52 tons, which by locomotive standards is incredibly light. And the passenger areas, they were really well sorted out, like, you know, areas like the buffet car, the first class compartments, and they were genuinely compartments. It wasn't just like a section that had been, you know, set aside. Liverpool station is coming up again. We'll just head straight through there. We'll get an exterior shot though of passing through here. Well, I mean, it was not as bad as some stations we've seen, but yeah, it wasn't exactly a railway marvel, that one. So yeah, the 442 did an awful lot of things right, but unfortunately it did also do a few things wrong. But like I've said a few times, my knowledge of the 442 is not fantastic, so I know it had issues, but I don't know a great deal about what they were. But I say, the fact that it got a very unexpected reprieve and ended up running on the Gatwick Express, replacing the 460, tells you that it did something right. I think that was fully deserved, because the 460 that was running the Gatwick Express was such a fucking useless piece of shit. and they really did deserve something better. So Haslemere is the next station, and yet we are going to be stopping there, so we'll start coasting. And once it's about a mile away, we'll start to shave off some of the speed in preparation for stopping here. Quite surprised there's no like morpeth boards, no AWS ramps, but there's no speed reduction anywhere around. Now this uphill section we're on, 1 in 123, will certainly help with bringing our speed down. But once we leave Haslemere, look at that downhill gradient we're approaching. In fact, Haslemere is on the start of that downhill ramp. Well, you know what I mean, yeah, the downhill descent. And it certainly looks like it is quite steep. Yeah, we're on a 1 in 80 downhill section. So I think we are certainly going to need some pretty hefty braking when it comes to stopping here. Although, I mean, at the moment we're doing fine. Yes, our speed did go up a bit there, but that's because I completely turned the brakes off. I'm going to try and get the entire train on the station, which it is. Let's crank the brakes up, make sure we can actually stop, which shouldn't be a problem, and isn't. So here we are then at Haslemere station. Looks very similar to the Brockenhurst station. I choose that as an example because I've been there and seen that one for myself. So, right, well, very short, but I've no problem with that. Brakes are off, let's get underway. I don't think it's going to take us very long to get up to the 85 mph limit on this section of the line. Not with this downhill, so we're still on a 1 in 80 downhill. So we're already up to 34 mph by the time we left the platform. Well, that's the first speeding error that I've made. I really did not, I was really hoping to get a clean run here. Oh well. Let's be honest, this is me we're talking about, so the fact that I've made it as far as Haslemere and only now got my first speeding error, I can't complain too much. So our next stop is Guildford. I've been there on several occasions, but never by rail, so I don't know what the station's like. So continuing to just coast on this section, we are losing speed, but at such a slow rate that it's absolutely fine. But very soon we are entering an uphill section, which looks like it could be as much of an uphill climb as this is a downhill. Whitley is the next station, which we'll be going straight through. We certainly seem to have a lot less problems with the gradients in the game compared to the issues that the 442 had with them in real life. So here we are at Whitley Station. Nothing particularly remarkable about that one. So now we're on another downhill section, one in 82. Milford is the next station, and we have a speed reduction just as we approach it to 80 mph. Now, because of this downhill section, I'm not sure we can coast that, but we'll have a go. In fact, think about it, the fact that the 442 did have issues with all of the gradients on this line, that's why it was only on here for such a short time, does make you wonder why they then put it on the Gatwick Express, because the Brighton line has way more gradients than this one. And the Brighton line is, yeah, the Gatwick Express doesn't just go Victoria to Gatwick, it does also, not all the time, but it does still go on to Brighton. So Godalming is the next station. That tells me Guildford is not too far away. We've got to bring our speed down to 60. I'm braking a bit more heavily than I really needed to, but there we are down to 60. Godalming is another another town I've been to on a couple of occasions, again not by rail, so I don't know the station. But I do know that Godalming is not that far from Guildford, so barely a mile down the line, in fact less than a mile down the line from Godalming station we have Farncombe station. Here we are at Godalming. I mean, I was really young the last time I was in Godalming, so I don't remember it at all. I certainly don't remember it being as sort of rural looking as this. So once we leave Farncombe station, or once we've driven through it, because yeah, we're not stopping here, we can then head back up to 85 mph. So here is Farncombe with a cement lorry taking its life in its own hands, or the driver of it, I should say. Right, let's, okay, we won't go up to 85, we'll go up to 75. There's still another 20 mph we can gain, so... Looking at the speed reduction there, 25, yeah, Guildford station is coming up. I get the feeling Guildford is something of a major station within Surrey. I've never liked Surrey, it's such a snobby place. I mean, it's not as bad as, you know, like Hertfordshire and most of Gloucestershire and that, but it's still... Oh. Of course, my mum was from Surrey, and she's at one of the places we're stopping at. Can't really see what, I think that was a 450 at train passing here, but of course passing through a tunnel doesn't exactly help with trying to identify trains that are approaching. At least once we are pulling out of here, we can go straight to 50 rather than have to start just sort of trundling along at 25. So, here we are at Guildford Station. I seem to recall there was a fairly major snooker event that was always held in Guildford. I mean, it's not held there now, but well, I can't remember which one it was, but... right. Onwards. So our next stop is Woking, and that is where my mum was born. Entering the 85 mph zone, and now we're in it, so yeah, time to get some decent speed up. Again, plenty of gradients coming up. So 1 in 116 uphill. We've actually got a 90 mph section coming up here. So this train, its max service speed is 100. Yeah, 100. But yeah, as was discovered when it broke the record, yeah, 109 is, in fact, it could probably do 110. So we're up to, yeah, it's now 1 in 111 downhill. Worplesdon is the next station, but we will just be going straight through that. coast a little bit while we approach the 90 mph section, 90 mph zone I should say. We're now entering it, and now, yeah. So we can go through this station at pretty much full tilt. Yeah, very much a typical sort of like commuter stop. Well, that 90 section did not last long. So we've got a big old drop to 40 coming up. There's bound to be an AWS alert for it. Well, that was a morphous board for it. I thought we'd get an AWS alert for it as well, but it would appear not. Woking is the next station, so we will be stopping there. Still no AWS alert. We're on a 90 mph section with a 40 mph max speed reduction. I was certain there would be an AWS warning for that. Another 444. Now this looks very much like an area where I could suddenly find myself yeah, in an areas with a lower speed limit, but it's not on the route display. So that's saying 30, but we're not crossing points there. But this, okay, yeah, ours is green. So I think we've now joined the line that would take us to Brighton. Well, if we were going the other way. And we're now on a 90 mph zone, and once we leave Woking station we will be in a 100 mph section, which we know this train can do. Now, will that 100 be there for long enough for us to actually get anywhere near it? So here we are at Woking. So our next stop is London Waterloo itself. We have no more stops along the route. So let's see how fast we can get the old 442 actually going. the 100 mph zone. We have a speed reduction down to 90 coming up in a mile and a half. Which is rather annoying. So yeah, I was able to get us to about 97.5, but I've got to start bringing our speed down for this. As is you know, always the case, I've done it too early, but so putting it to series at 90 mph seems to be holding our speed at near enough a constant, which is ideal. So that's what we want. So there's several stations that we're passing through. I don't know what any of them are, but we're in the fast lanes, so yeah, we're avoiding them all, which is absolutely ideal. So Waterloo is now less than 20 miles away. I think that was another 450. Plenty of AI trains now. I'm very glad to see it. Another station we're avoiding. Yeah, couldn't see what that one was. Well, it looks like we're in, you know, what's left of the green belt around the outsides of London, so we're certainly going to be entering sort of the Greater London area pretty soon, if we haven't already. So we have an 85 mph limit here as we approach Hampton Court Junction. Been to Hampton Court on multiple occasions. I do like visiting the old historical sites of Britain. Hampton Court is quite impressive, there's no doubt about that. Yeah, we'll pretend we didn't see that, won't we? So Surbiton is the next station, and that is yeah, one we'll be just going straight through. Another speed reduction coming up to 80. So again, we can just cruise this. So we're into the 80 zone. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the fastest we can do for the rest of the trip. Oh, I just caught that. So another speed reduction in a mile and a half to 75. So again, we'll coast there, let that drop down. Again, I'm doing it way too early, so let's keep going a little bit. No idea what station that is, but once again we're avoiding it anyway. frames per second are starting to take a bit of a hammering as we approach London. Waterloo is 10 miles now. Yeah, again, couldn't see what that station was. Wimbledon is the next station, so yeah, we're certainly into Greater London now. Yeah, once again, we'll just be going straight through there. Extremely small station coming up at Dunsford Road. Oh, okay, yeah. It's a staff halt rather than an actual station. Not that surprising. And look how small it is. So I don't know how good an exterior shot we're going to get as we go through Wimbledon station, but we'll give it a go. Tunnel, yeah. So yeah, there's Wimbledon. I wouldn't want to be in the train that's trying to go up that gradient there. I think that is for freight rather than passenger service. So yeah, Dunsford Road staff halt is just coming up here. It's this pokey little thing here. Yeah. Still bigger than that stop on the Kyle line. So 40 mph max speed reduction in at a mile and a half as we approach Clapham Junction. Rather surprising to say the least that we are not going to be stopping at Clapham Junction. once we're through there we can then go up to 60. We'll coast for a bit. I have enough faith in these brakes to get us down from 70 to 40. Maybe I don't. The Morpheus boards have convinced me that maybe I should start braking now. But I mean, I'm braking very lightly. So we'll coast through Clapham Junction. Absolute fucking sea of rails around here. You can start picking up speed. If you keep it in series, then see, I think we will still need to drop down to shunt again. Yeah, we will, before we hit the 60 mph zone. There we go. Does not take this this train long to reach yeah, go up from 40 to 60. Now we have another reduction to 55 coming up in just over a mile and a quarter. And we have Vauxhall station coming up. Again, it's well, I think anyway, it's unusual for a train coming up from the south that's coming into Waterloo not to stop at Vauxhall, but so this is the route that Jim requested, and he is basically following the express route, so he certainly knows what he's talking about as far as, you know, how this route is run. He's done it often enough. So clearly it does happen. Okay, so we're now fine for the 55 zone. We're going to carry on coasting anyway because it goes down to 40 as we pass Vauxhall. Yeah, we'll almost certainly have to brake for the stop by Vauxhall there. I've just noticed on the window on the side there's like bird shit on the window. I don't know if it's been there all the while, but yeah, I hadn't noticed it up until now. I definitely need to start braking a bit. Okay, so we're now fine for the 40 mph zone. So it's at the Vauxhall station. See the old Houses of Parliament there. Definitely got to start braking for this 15 section. Coasting is definitely not getting us down anywhere near fast enough. So yeah, we got the solid yellow, which is fine. We did not get any AWS alerting us. They're telling us, yeah, platform 12. And there we are. Yeah, wasn't paying enough attention. That's only my second speeding yeah, error in this run. So it's far from ideal, but I'll take it. 2 speeding errors on this run in total. Yeah. Considering the first time I tried to do this video, I had 4 of them before I'd even stopped at Fratton station. Let's just get ourselves below 10 mph, so if we have any of those things that trigger the emergency brakes, we're going slow enough that yeah, they will not do that. So the entire train is now on the platform. I can stop pretty much any time. There are those things that we are coming up to. I made damn sure they weren't going to trigger them. well, we're nowhere near the buffers, plenty of space there. But there we are. That was Portsmouth Harbour to London Waterloo, and that was a great run. I do like the Portsmouth to London route, and I do really like this loco, despite its rather restricted view from the cab. And there aren't a huge number of emus that I'm like, you know, a big fan of, but yeah, the 442 is certainly one of them. The 380 is another. The 385, which I don't have yet, but I will do. So yeah, there are some out there. And yeah, operational errors, speeding twice, I'll certainly take that, because yeah, compared to what it was like on my first attempt, that is really well going. Really good going. So there we are. That is that one done. I've got 2 more. One of them is another really great one, like this. One of them is an absolute bastard. Yeah, I really can't wait for that one. Anyway, this is this one done, and we will see you at the next one.